Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode of Booked. I'm your host, Saffron Asteria, and I'm joined today by Tyler Kirk. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks again for having me.
Of course. There is like a little bit of a hiss in the background that just came up. I don't know if you've got snakes in your room, but if so,
I
watch
have a
out.
I have a couple snakes. Yeah. So
Hopefully,
I think it was
non-venomous.
my fan. I just turned it down. It was my fan.
Well, you need to have that on because it is really hot. So if you need it on, that's absolutely fine. I
No,
just feel like it's
it's we're
safety.
good. We're good. It is very warm today though with the fires and everything. So
Whereabouts are you in the world?
I'm in Eastern Washington in a city called Spokane.
Ah.
Yeah.
I thought it was pronounced spookine, like
Spokane.
spooky.
That's better than what a lot of other people say. I get a lot of people call it Spokane, and
Ah,
it's like nope, that's not it.
cool. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up because that was my first question.
Yeah, of course.
So before I ramble on with a bunch of questions for you, could you tell the audience a little bit about what sorts of things you write?
Yeah, so I write fiction novels. To be honest, I like in terms of genre, I would say I've kind of given up on that battle. I always like pick something that someone refers to the genre of the Children of Strife books in either a review or in a conversation. They're like, "Oh, it's dark fantasy," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's dark fantasy." And someone will be like, "Well, no, it's not dark fantasy because it's not nihilistic enough." And I'm like, "Okay, well then it's this genre. No, it can't be that because you know." So it's
Mm.
fiction. It's got a little bit of grittiness to it. It's got some lightheartedness and like humor, but also a little bit of darkness to it. So
Mhm.
make of that what you will. But yeah, that's what I write.
Excellent. I love how fluid and vague that is because the thing is that a lot of times it's really subjective. And when I look on like review sites, for example, and I never look for like recommendations for them, it's just out of curiosity, like, oh, I wonder how this was rated. Oftentimes I'll see comments from people and I think the point went straight over your head with some books, or people just like take things really personally, even though the book wasn't written about them and things like that. So I think it's quite clever to identify what people can take from it, and then hopefully you'll find those people, but again, and then you can get to them that way because marketing is such a it's a awful, horrible beast that I don't think anyone really enjoys.
No, it's rough. I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you though about what you're saying. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it is just leaving it open to interpretation.
Mhm.
I've gotten to the point where like when I've gone to like bookstores and stuff, I just say it's fantasy fiction.
Mhm.
It, you know, I
That's safe. That's safe. Because I mean, sometimes I don't want to know everything about a book. Sometimes when all these like really, really like specific genre labels and tropes are thrown into the marketing, I'm like, you've spoiled the exciting bit where I get to discover that, oh, this is a vampire book. I had no idea. I love stuff like that. Like, I don't know if
yeah,
you've ever seen From Dusk Till Dawn.
love that movie.
Me too. I didn't know it was a vampire film. I had avoided the
Yeah,
spoilers for my entire life, and then when I was in my early 20s, I watched it for the first time, and I thought, "This is spectacular." I had no idea, it was great.
first time I watched that movie, I had the same reaction,
Mm.
and I would have had the same reaction with the movie Sinners that came out not long ago if people hadn't spoiled it for me, told me that there were vampires, and I would
Mhm,
have never guessed that that movie was gonna have vampires in it either because it's kind of the
mhm.
same pacing and
Yeah.
idea as Hold On. So
Mm. Also an excellent film.
yeah,
Okay, so the first question I'm gonna ask you, I think I'm gonna start asking people this really early on because eventually it comes up, and
okay.
I'd like to get there, like, straight away. When
Cut to
you
the
were
chase.
when you were a kid, what did you wanna be when you grew up?
I it's evolved
Mhm.
stylistically over time, but I always wanted to be a writer.
Really?
I was always writing. I think it's because I was exposed to literature
Mhm,
really early on, um, in terms of like having people read it to me
mhm,
and then reading it myself. And um, I started writing as early as like first grade, I started writing like little stories and
Mhm.
stuff. They'd be kind of all over the place in terms of what they were about and how, the grammar was awful. But I
Has
mean,
to be
I
expected.
still have, yeah, exactly. It's to be expected. I have old notebooks floating about in boxes in storage that are from like third grade, and there's
Oh.
just pages of like short stories or like story ideas.
Mhm.
And there's like, my mom has told me that I got like writer of the month, and stuff like that when I was a kid. So I was always
That's
in
cute.
writing.
Mhm.
That's been my passion, probably my one of my skills and strong suits. And um but it's evolved because like I always just wanted to just write when I was a kid, and then I got to like junior high school, and then when I wanted to do like film writing,
Mm.
and like towards, I want to say, after high school is when was a little bit more interested in like becoming like a novelist or something
Mm.
of the sort. But see, I've always been into this.
Mhm. So I know that The Arsonist was the first published book that you have published. That was a terrible sentence. I need a lot of editing when I write. I don't know about you. So The Arsonist was the first thing that you published. And I know that The Vitamin Kid was adapted from, was it a screenplay that your great grandfather had sort of mostly written?
Yes.
What came first? Like you writing The Arsonist, or was it The Vitamin Kid inheritance?
So I had the Vitamin Kid. It was given to me when I was in eighth grade.
Mhm.
So I had had it for a long time, but I just never fully knew what to do with it.
Mm.
I had always told myself that if I had, someday if I publish my own story, then I would finish the Vitamin Kid, get it out there too.
Mhm.
And then the Arsonist was like an idea that came to me after high school when I was in the Navy. Um, it was kind of just a collection of short story ideas that
Mhm.
kind of evolved into a novel. There was a time going into college where I talked with a friend about trying to make it into like a graphic novel, like a comic book,
Oh.
but just never really took off. So ended up turning that into a novel and getting that out 3 years ago. And then decided to, once that went out and I felt that it was successful in its own right, I decided to then kind of keep the promise and go back to the Vitamin Kid.
Mhm.
And then as soon as the Vitamin Kid was done, I went back to my outline that I had for the sequel to The Arsonist, which was The Confluence, which just
Mhm.
came out this year. And yeah, that's the three books that I have right now. That's the timeline in which they came about. So I mean, the Vitamin Kid has existed before anything I've written,
Mm.
because it's my great grandfather was working on that in the 30s.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
What a cool legacy to leave behind and to have like your lineage take over. I don't know. I think that's really, really immensely cool. Was it something that did you worry much when you were working on it about like keeping your great grandfather's voice, or were you like, let me take the reins, I'm going to do this my way, but with the heart of this story that you have?
Um, Initially, I was a little nervous,
Mhm.
but honestly, the thing that I guess concerned me the most was more of the reception of it, because
Hmm.
it's from a completely different time, obviously,
Mhm.
and they're just the way things are written back then, not in like an offensive way, but there's just a lot of the way people wrote, the way people talk, just everything was so
Mm.
different back then. I mean, it was almost 100 years ago now, so
Mhm.
it's a completely lost era. And I was kind of concerned about like, how is this going to be like, are people actually going to connect with this? Like,
Mhm.
because there's this huge thing right now I've noticed over the last 5 or 6 years about people are really like against old books that were written from that era, like of Mice and Men and stuff.
Really?
And There was like a big thing on social media. People like this movement of people like you probably see like people like hate The Great Gatsby and stuff. And I think that's
Oh
because they
yeah.
were forced to read it in high school. A lot of these classics,
Yes.
these old books,
Mm-hmm.
and so part of me was kind of like, well, geez, like I hope that this is received not so poorly. But then I was like, I'm not really releasing this for people to like it. I'm mainly doing this just to honor my great grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly wanted to publish it for family
Mm-hmm.
purposes, like so family members could have it and stuff. So once I started getting into that mindset, I just kind of didn't care. I was like, if people don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
It's a very niche genre too, right? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
about a boxer entering the Great Depression in America. So it's like these are like very niche things that people don't like. If someone's gonna pick up a book and read a book,
Mm-hmm.
like they'd have to really be into those things because if you're not like, it's not just like it's not like escapism fantasy. Like I'm gonna read this dragon writing book or I'm gonna go read this book about a murder mystery. It's like boxer Hollywood Great Depression is just beginning.
Yeah.
Like we're just coming out of the Roaring Twenties. Like, it's a very niche thing.
Well, we might slip into another Great Depression, an even greater depression. So maybe it'll become a cult classic because it will feel so relatable.
Maybe there's a boxer somewhere out there right now in like Detroit. This book's gonna inspire him to go the distance.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? That would be lovely.
He's gonna get the Vitamin Kid tattooed across his collar, chest right here.
Oh, we need more cult classics. I totally neglected the fact that the chat was there because I was so into what we were talking about. But I'm just gonna say hi.
Oh yeah, the chat.
The chat's there. So we have Jasper that's joined us. We also have Chris, who I have to remind myself when I see your name that your name is Chris. We have Mark from the Book Lounge, and we yeah, I feel that one. And we have SS Fitzgerald as well. So if anybody is lurking in the background, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. So I always find it interesting when people write things for their family because I come across like family memoirs a lot, and seeing those in publication that like strangers, I know it's a totally different thing, but it's like a similar vein. I see people who put these out there for like strangers to read. Did it feel any more vulnerable having something like that that's like a family legacy almost, as opposed to like your first publication?
Honestly, not really. I mean, I didn't really get to know him.
Yeah.
He passed away before I was born. So it was actually kind of cool because I got to know him through his work and then later on, like through his diary and stuff, and kind of understand where he was coming from. And, like everybody that's read it has told me they can't tell what parts I put in stuff because there's this misconception that like he wrote like 2/3 of it and then did finish it. So like I wrote the last part, and that's not true. He actually had just pages that were whited out or ripped out of the yeah, because I had to do it from a physical like typewriter manuscript, right? I didn't have a file, so I had to convert all of that to a file, and then I had to go in and fill in these blanks where it's like, so the story's going, and then there's like 22 pages missing, and then it just picks up again, and you're like,
oh my god!
All right, yeah. So, but people have told me that it's seamless, like they can't tell where Harry's voice ends and Tyler's voice begins. So I think he did a good job. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel very vulnerable about it or anything because it's one of the reasons though why I also don't take a lot of credit for it. I try really hard to like spotlight as like my great grandfather's work. I mean, originally I wasn't even gonna put my name on it. Because I've had people ask me like, oh well then like why didn't you just ghostwrite and publish it? Well, I tried to. But because he was deceased and there's no like this intellectual property was not like he didn't have like it in a will, like I didn't have all this like documentation, all this legal stuff. I couldn't. so I had to register it under my name for
Mm.
copyright purposes, and then put him on, and we were like co-authors.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I thought that I think that it turned out pretty good. I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, I would love to do like maybe like a new version of it someday in terms of like how it's presented, like the
Mhm.
cover and everything. I think it'd be cool to maybe do. So I like how it is right now is literally just my rendition of what he made.
Mhm.
You know, his manuscript and cover design was very plain, so
Mhm.
that's why it's very plain.
Yeah. I mean, that's
No.
that's got to be an awesome thing for your family to have anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I know that you, and if you don't want to talk about it, it's okay. Just tell me. So you re-released The Arsonist, right? So
Mhm.
you, I don't know if you like edited it or rewrote any of it, but I know that obviously there was the new cover, which is sick, by the way.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So what was that all about? Like, did you decide it on a whim? Is it something that you wanted to do for a long time? How did that happen?
So when I released The Arsonist, I didn't get to release it the way that I wanted to.
Okay.
I didn't have money, honestly, at the time,
Mhm.
and like and time. There was just a lot of factors, and so
Mhm.
I released it the way I could at the time. But I always had planned on doing like a special edition version of it later,
Mhm.
and you know, I kind of it worked out because when I released the Vitamin Kid, I kind of put that on pause and had to come back to it. And I
Mhm.
was like, well, I don't want to just release the Confluence and then people haven't, or like the Arsonist, like what, and then I'm doing the same with the Confluence. It's going to look so much different. So
Mhm.
I ended up working with a close friend on the Arsonist named Hank, and
Mhm.
he did a great job with the cover and the
Mhm.
chapter ornaments and everything, and helped him. And I was able to go through and um, just make it more stylistically like what I wanted it to be,
Mhm.
and re-release it as basically like a special edition.
Mhm.
Um, and I, to be honest, I don't regret doing it. It was a good idea
Good.
because I think it worked out because
Mhm.
it allowed people to get re-exposed to that idea, and then it also just kind of moved the focus back to that
Mm.
IP,
Yeah.
so that when I released the Confluence this year, it was a little bit more like expected and known.
Mhm.
Um, and to be honest with you, and I've said this to a few people online and in my circles and stuff, but
Mhm.
haven't announced it on like a show or anything yet. But there will be another version of the Arsis in the future, like a
Really?
final, yeah, like a final edition, because
Okay.
it's not, even though when I re-released it, we got like the stylistic stuff down,
Mm.
like the cover and all the things that I wanted, like the chapter ornaments, the map, and everything.
Mhm.
There's still things with it that I'm not happy about, and um, my personal stance on this is that we're independently publishing, right?
Mhm.
Um, that means you have the right to do that. And I'm not going into like changing anything like
Mhm.
core story stuff necessarily, but there's like things like just the way certain things are structured.
Mhm.
Like I think it could be a lot more polished,
Mhm.
because I got a lot of awesome feedback from the Confluence that came out this
Mhm.
year, and um, a lot of people are like, "Wow, like it reads like you've grown a lot. Like it's
That's a
still a
really nice
Tyler
compliment.
book, but like
Mm.
it's changed." And that's the truth, because when I was writing The Arsonist, I was an undergrad. I didn't have, it was my first book. It was a debut, and I wasn't that experienced.
Mhm.
I didn't have like a team of people to help me. I was just alone, which
Mm.
most of us are.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I was like fully, like I had no idea. I didn't even have social media when I released The Arsonist.
Wow.
I thought I was just gonna, yeah, I wasn't one of those people that like did things the smart way, where you like build up a following. You're like, hey, I'm new here. I'm gonna release a book in 3 months or 6 months. No, I
Mhm.
just,
Just
because
did it.
I didn't want to. Because I had found a way that I I was going to do stuff locally.
Mhm.
And I thought if I'm going to independently publish, after I went through all the trad publishing fiasco stuff, I thought if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to do this as my alternative now, I'm
Mhm.
just going to do local stuff, which I did.
Mhm.
But then I started thinking like, people kept asking me at these local things like, oh, what's your Instagram? What's your Twitter? Do you do TikTok reels? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't have any of that. And so finally I was like, I guess I need to just cave and make like a Twitter and stuff. And
Mhm.
got on there and started. So that was another thing, is that when I started to develop like a following and like community of friends and like-minded individuals online, they only knew me for the Vitamin Kit, because that was what I had like built up on social media, which is why the Vitamin Kit had such a successful like debut when it like launched. And we did a lot. I had some people help me. We did a lot of cool things with the marketing for that book, building up to it. But yeah, so like doing the Arsonist again, it's like I wanted to get it stylistically right, but now I'm like, and now I kind of want it to be a little bit more universal, because the idea is that the Arsonist and the Confluence are part of the Children of Strife. It's going to be a trilogy, so there's going to be a third and final book. The Confluence already reads so much more. I'm just going to use the word mature. I know that sounds probably pretentious, but it's my book. I'm talking about my own book, okay? But it reads more mature, and I look back at the Arsonist, and I don't think it's a maturely written book.
Interesting.
So I don't want to. I'm not going to retcon anything. I was talking about this with one of my friends the other day, and he's like, "Well, there's a lot of people that have read the Arsonist. Like, do you re-release it again? Like, probably going to lose a lot of trust and stuff." And I was like, "Well, no. My goal isn't to re-release it because I want to like retcon it or redo it. It's I'm trying to keep it uniform with the other books, because of how the Confluence is written, and how the next one is more like the Confluence because of just where I'm at in life. I'm someone that's in their 30s now. I'm not 20 anymore. And like when I wrote my first drafts of the Arsonist, I was 20 years old. So a lot of time has passed. Like I always tell people, like I published the Arsonist in 2023, but I started writing it in 2015.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things in it in terms of how it's written. Not necessarily like the content. It's just the way, like language choices, the way things are described. It reads to me as a past version of myself that was not as confident in his ability and understanding. And I was reading a lot of very specific types of books. Now I've broadened that, right? So I don't have a date, but there likely will be one last re-release of the Arsonist, like one last version, and it'll probably be in a way that, like I said, allows it to be uniform with the others. Because because you've got things like Harry Potter, right, where the Sorcerer's Stone is very like you read it, it's very adolescent and innocent. But then you read like the Half-Blood Prince, and it's a lot more mature. I thought initially when I released the Confluence this year, because a lot of people that I've told this to already, like in my family, for example, they've been like, "Well, why didn't you re-release it before the Confluence?" I was like, "Well, I had this idea that it would be kind of like a Harry Potter thing." But as time has passed on this year, I've been like, no, to hell with that. I can't do it. It bothers me too much. So
it's such a difficult decision to make, especially when so much work goes into it. But if you can recognize and have control over the thing that you want to change, like you don't have to answer to anyone but yourself. And if you feel that you have it in you to like polish up this thing to a level that you're like immensely proud of, that you would like show off to people, that also helps with, as you say, like this continuity of quality for a series, then you'll be doing yourself and your readers a disservice if you didn't do that. Like, it doesn't matter if it happens in 10 years or next week. Like, if it's something that you want to do, you should definitely do it. But it's something that I noticed. There was like a little wave of authors that I saw on social media specifically that were like re-releasing books that I think it just sort of coincidentally happened at a very similar time. And I was like, what is going on? Like there were like 3 or 4 people that I knew that were like re-releasing their books. It's just interesting to see how we, develop and evolve our skills and our craft over time. And when we go back and like read stuff that we've previously written, sometimes it's hard to identify that it's actually you that did that or you that wrote that thing. And I mean, you mentioned like reading more widely. That certainly helps. Like I've been reading, I mean, through this show, I've read all sorts of stuff I never would have been, gone anywhere near because like I don't like romance and fantasy is not like my top choice.
Yeah, same actually.
But it helps. Even with those like tiny little plot lines that you have that help to make something a little bit more meaty, like learning the skills of those other genres and those sorts of tropes and, different points of view is immensely helpful, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? But that's the cool thing about self-publishing and, even working with indie presses, sometimes they can be quite flexible. But if you're like the only one that you have to answer to, you could like change the cover every week if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I could. That would make people really happy, I'm sure.
What you should do is release a different, exactly the same cover, but every week next year, just change the font a little bit.
Yeah, that would just the ebook readers are like, why does it keep getting bigger?
Just like half a point every time.
Yeah, I don't know. Another like thing that I think about too is like even some of the most like legendary trad published authors, have multiple versions of books that we all love, and the first editions, which are worth a lot of money now, are full of flaws. Like the Lord of the Rings is a great example of that, right? The first 2 editions of the Lord of the Rings are riddled with errors, but it's below the book. But and then ironically, that trilogy is another reason why I want my books to be like the voice to be more uniform, because those books all read like they have the same mature voice to them. Whereas, like I said, there's a huge gap, I think, between the Arsonist and the Confluence. There's a lot of people that read the Arsonist and like, oh, that was, it was a whimsical book. And then they read the Confluence and they're like, whoa, there was like a huge growth spurt. And like, so I want to bring the Arsonist up to that level so that it's consistent. But
so the evolution that you've had in your own writing, has that been purely through working on the Confluence, or are there other things that you've been doing to like exercise that muscle for yourself?
Honestly, it's been a combination of just writing more things that get seen and critiqued heavily.
Yeah.
And reading a lot more of things outside of genres that I typically frequent, at least used to frequent in my youth. So, yeah, like I do a lot of writing outside of just these books, right? So, and the things that I write for lots of various gigs, we'll call it, they get seen and critiqued heavily. And so I think that I've just built up, it's like going to the gym. Like I've built up better writing muscles. Like when I started writing the Arsonist, I was like, I was just like winging it. Like I'm just gonna go in onto the treadmill. Now the Confluence, I was able to prepare it more like ready to go. I had like the tracksuit on, I had the pre-workout, and like after I wrote it, there was a protein, like I had like the whole, it was all situated. But now but joking aside, like I don't know how else to explain it. Like it's
a great analogy.
Read more things and wrote more things. And so when I was writing the Confluence, it just kind of came naturally. And then, but now, looking back at the Arsonist, it's like, yeah. So
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Do you know what? I speak to a lot of writers, a lot of them, I should probably tell. I think we're at like 180 episodes or something of the show. So with a couple of repeat customers, we're probably around like the 170 mark or whatever. And the top pieces of advice that I've heard are read widely. And doesn't work for everybody, so don't get all your knickers in a twist if it doesn't work for you. Read widely, write as much as you possibly can. Don't worry about the first draft being a pile of crap, and enjoy what you're doing. It shouldn't be a chore. Like, there are some elements of this process, especially if you are self-publishing or working with a press that doesn't have like a big budget or whatever. You know, you have the ability to enjoy the process because there's nobody actually putting any pressure on you to get the thing out there apart from yourself. So if like if it's stressful because it's too much pressure, slow it down. Stop giving people release dates that you can't fulfill and things like that. You know, there are things that you're going to have to do that aren't going to be that much fun, like spending money. That's the worst bit, in my opinion. And sometimes the editing process can be painful, but like, if you don't enjoy it, then don't bother. Do something else.
Yeah, no, sound advice. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. But anyway, in terms of like where you this isn't like a job interview, but in terms of where you see yourself in like 5-10 years, with all the progress that you've already made throughout your, you know, developing your craft and publishing books, what do you want for yourself? Like, do you want to have another series out? Do you want to, you know, dabble in something else?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think about, because I can't quite pinpoint it for reasons yet. I've been approached by some people to work on like some more like collaborative things. That's that cool. Is very intriguing to me. It's very different. I do see myself continuing to write books, or maybe at least like short stories or novellas after the Children of Strife is wrapped up with the third final book.
Yeah.
What those look like, I'm not sure. I mean, I have no shortage of ideas.
That's good.
So yeah, I mean, that's one thing is I don't have a shortage of ideas. I have a shortage of time. If I had it my way, I'd be releasing a book every 4 months. If I had it my way, you know, to have like 3 books out this year. But yeah, I will more than likely continue to write books. I could see myself 5 years from now having grown even more from the Children of Strife, where something I write after that is just a completely different in terms of just tone and ideas. I mean, that might seem obvious to some, but I do think I'm not saying this about like indie authors, anyone in particular, but I do think that some people kind of lose steam. They kind of like, they're like, well, I released the book or books that I wanted to, and now I'm done. I'm kind of tapped out. Or they continue to release books, but it's just like they can't get over like the same repetitive like formula.
Yeah.
They're like, well, this worked for the first 2 books, so let's make 4 more like that. You know, and it's just like, and look, if people are buying them, which the ideas I have in my head, I'm thinking down aisles in Barnes and Nobles, people are buying them. It works, but I'm not a formulaic writer.
Yeah.
I like can't write a story that's going to be exactly like the predecessor, which again is why the Vitamin Kid was such a fun, challenging project. Because it's like, I've never written anything like this, and I'm probably never going to. This is, I have to like put on this other person's performative voice, if you will, and get into character with this. Because I was completely out of my element. But it was a good challenge because it allowed me to feel more comfortable with exploring different ideas when writing my own stuff. Like, there's things that are explored in the Arsonist, and then there's completely different, like, Confluence. Like, it's the same world, it's the same characters, but it's it is a continuation, but it's like there's a lot of different stuff being explored.
Yeah.
I'm like really big into this idea that like if I'm bored writing it, my readers are going to be bored reading it. So
100%.
like, I don't want to write, like, it's like, I already did that. I want to write something different now. So I could see that when the Children of Strife stuff's wrapped up, I will continue to write stuff, but it's probably going to be completely different. And I know you're agreeing with what I'm saying, but one of the things that I found is very difficult, especially as an indie author, is that your small, dedicated, loyal group of people that give your work, that like what you write, they like your stories, they give them a chance, they spend their time on their vacation or their work breaks to read your novel. If they like it, they want more of that. And that's one thing I struggle with, is like, people are like, oh, like, you did this thing that was really good. Like, for example, I was at like a little book signing event not that long ago, and I had a couple copies of The Vitamin Kid there. I usually bring a couple, right? And this lady actually had read The Vitamin Kid. That's how she knew about me in the social media, like, brochure thing.
Cool.
And was like, yeah, are you gonna write another one? And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, like, really, like, you don't think you'll do any more, like maybe like a spinoff or anything? I'm like, no, probably not. You know, and so I feel like there's this expectation of, like, it's like falling in love with someone's work. Like, you want more of that, like bands, right? Like, when a band changes their sound and they release an album that's completely different than the previous album, you're like, your reaction is like, this isn't what I like. Like, this is not what I'm used to. And so I struggle with this idea of, like, I want to keep writing different things and exploring different things, but there's this thing called brand recognition. So after Children of Strife's over, if I decide that I do maybe want to give like a science fiction concept a try, a lot of people that like Children of Strife are probably not gonna be interested in that, because they're like, ew, gross, science fiction, like, no thanks. Like, I want stuff with horses and barns.
Horses and barns, those two things that people yearn for in a book. I love that. No, you're so right though, and it's I think if your like sole goal is to make money and build a loyal fan base that are going to keep coming back for book after book after book, you have to concern yourself with things like that. Like, I've said it before, if you want to be financially successful in this sphere, you have to do a lot of things, and you have to spend a fair bit of money, and you have to have a brand, and you have to have a presence. Not have to, like, these are just like things that are super beneficial.
Yeah.
If you're writing because you love writing and love storytelling, and you want to share those stories with people, and like, would it be nice if you made the money back for the cost of the cover and the editing and stuff? Yes.
That'd be cool.
Would it be nice if you made a small profit? Yes, very much so. But the chances of that happening are so stupendously low that you may as well like stick with your own artistic choices, because like, you're not contracted. It's not like you got an editor going, I really need you to write this book. You're like, I want to write about space frogs. Cool. Okay, well, space frog people, you can have that.
Space horses,
space barns. But you could do that. You could say it might be sci-fi, but there are also horses and barns. They just look a bit freaky. You know, that's one marketing choice you can make if you'd like. But yeah, so like, spending all this time, we were talking about this before the show started. Like, social media is one of those things that feels really necessary, because that's what we see all our colleagues doing and our peers doing, right? Like, we see people marketing and being on social media every day, and, you know, creating community and blah blah blah. You don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to do those things. You could try and get involved in your local communities. You could approach libraries. You could, you know, do in-person stuff if that's what you know, if you are able to do that financially, physically, whatever. You know, there are so many different things that you could do that aren't social media. And I think we forget that. Like, we forget that before Twitter and Instagram and all that sort of stuff, there were still people publishing books and people were reading them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time, like before COVID, like social media is just the new Yellow Pages. Really what it is.
Yeah. It's a lot more political than the Yellow Pages, though.
True. You don't open you don't open to look for the Yellow Pages and get like a person who just punches you in the face with geopolitics, you know?
Yeah.
Although that would be kind of crazy.
That would be crazy and a very
Like,
good plot for a short story, I think.
just go to open up a phone book to look up like the Domino's or Pizza Hut number, and it's just like, oh, like this is what the government's doing with your taxes. Like, oh my god.
Oh, I'd probably read it. But anyway, yeah, I didn't know you guys had the yellow pages here. I thought that was a British thing. I guess I'm just sheltered.
I yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we had them here.
Yeah, I don't know how you would have found out about it if you didn't have it.
Yeah, I remember. Well, the reason why I say this is because I remember my parents using them when I was younger. The reason why I hesitate is because I don't think we have them anymore, so I don't really know how I could prove it.
I don't know that we do. I mean, we could search for it, I suppose. If you're in the chat and you remember using the yellow pages, if you live in North America, let us know. Because that is pertinent information. And I don't know that we can close the show without it.
Yeah, that's gonna bother me now.
Yeah, hopefully somebody in the chat will save us because that is going to bother me as well. I just remember there being an advert where a little kid like used a bunch of yellow pages to stand high enough to kiss a boy, and I was like, that's not what that's used for. So that's what I remember about the yellow pages. Oh yeah, okay. North America did have the yellow pages. Thank you very much, Nathan. I
was gonna say I'm like gaslighting myself. Like, did we have yellow pages? Like, it's been a long week.
Oh, I get you, and it's hot and sticky and gross, so it's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
So, I feel like we've touched upon the like final two questions I always ask people, but I want to ask you the questions like straight up. In terms of being a writer, and I want you to be very honest with me, Tyler, okay? I don't want you to give me an answer you think I want your honest answer.
Okay.
As a writer, what does success look like to you?
Oh man. Well, am I allowed to do like a disclaimer before I answer?
You can say whatever you like.
I have a very pretentious answer.
Oh, please do.
I think there's a difference between a writer and an author.
Okay, as an author, then.
As an author, okay, I was gonna say because to me they're two different things. I've debated this with a lot of people on Twitter, that hide behind anonymous anime girl profile pictures and stuff. Okay, this is a touchy subject, but I think what being a successful author looks like, obviously subjective. I mean, I guess there are people that would try to measure it by like they would try to quantify it by like money, like sales, and be like, oh well, like J.K. Rowling, Stephen King. It's like, yeah, but they all had like movie deals and stuff though too, right? I mean,
and good agents and
yeah, like there's a lot of I think that being a successful author right now is going to be different to every person, because some people being successful just means just getting their book on the shelves of Barnes and Nobles. I've met so many indie authors through social media that are like, dude, if I could just, get on the bookshelf somewhere in my local hometown, I'd be grateful. Or if I could just get at the library that I used to go to when I was a kid. I mean, for some people, to me, just doing stuff like this, just talking to people about things I've written, that's success.
Yeah.
I think that we like to measure success of authors based off of their book sales, based off if they've been agented, like they got an agent, or if they've been traditionally published. But I think that being successful is just kind of being honest with yourself. Like, what do you want to get out of this? Because if you're just writing a book and publishing it through, let's say, Amazon, and the whole sole purpose of that is you hate your job and you want to quit your job and just write books full time. Well, I hate to break it to you. It's that's like a less than 1% group of people that get to. There are people I've met. There's a lady here in Spokane. I would say she's very successful. She gets to go, she's gone on tours to Barnes and Nobles across the country. Yeah. Paid tours where she got on a bus and got to go to Barnes and Nobles, and she has sold a lot of books. She's gotten triple digit ratings on multiple platforms, right? Like Goodreads and stuff. She still has a day job. that comes first before she can release her next book, but she still writes books and releases them. But yeah, I mean, and I will say this too, I'm going to tack onto that and say that I think more of like a prediction of what a successful author looks like. I think it's going to look like whatever can stand against something that's just completely AI generated. There's a lot of AI generated books. There's just a lot of AI generated content in general. So what I think being a successful author is going to look like in the future is being able to stand out as a completely like handmade human book, and like people don't doubt it. Yeah, they're like, no, that's a human. Like that's not like that was written by a human. I think that's what like in the future will be kind of like what determines if you're successful or not, because there's not a lot of things stopping people from just generating a book and uploading it to an indie press, right? At least not right now. Maybe there'll be more regulations in the future. I don't know, but right now there's nothing stopping that. So I think if you can come out with a book in like 2033 and it's stands on its own as like a human book with all of its flaws and imperfections and lack of M dashes, like, I think that's what success will look like in like the next decade. But I'd say right now it's a matter of like you determine what it looks like. I couldn't tell you. You couldn't tell me. Nobody watching this. Like if people watch this seeking answers, like what I want to know what being a successful indie author looks like in 2027 or 2026. That's kind of depends what you're trying to get out of it. But if you're quantifying it, then the easy answer is just like, oh, being successful means you sold 1,000 copies this month.
What a number, and not particularly achievable.
I'm just saying, like
no, I know. And
I'm not downplaying like the stats of like pages read, books sold, all that stuff. I'm not downplaying that at all. I'm very grateful for the attention that I get on my books. People like I'm always grateful when people check out my books, but I don't think that is why everybody like. I don't think that's like the way we should be viewing success today, because the truth is, it might sound really negative and sad, but like the chances of just being able to publish something independently and then become this like massive success that quits their job and moves to the Bahamas is just not.
Wrong industry.
Yeah,
the wrong industry for that. I feel like it's an industry of passion.
It's art, and like we don't really pay people to make art in the West anymore. That's kind of and I've said that and gotten in trouble for saying that in the past too. Like, what do you mean? Like, we have all these movies and all this music. I mean, like, we don't have like people that can just be artists and that's what they are anymore. We have people that have to make time for it. Which if you're passionate about something, you always find a way to make time for it, I suppose. But
yeah, it's not a particularly easy industry. I suppose art as a whole to
all of them are rough. Yeah,
support yourself, especially in this economy. My goodness gracious me, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's another thing, right? Like people have to choose between buying your book and like paying their phone bill or something. I don't know what the alternative is, but like. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully I answered your question. I didn't dodge it.
You did. You also gave some extra information, which I thought was nice. So no, I totally agree with you, and you make a really good point. Like, we're not necessarily in a position where we can easily choose art, because in order to access it, it often comes with a price tag, because the person that's created it has spent money to get to that point. And if you've got a choice between that or feeding your family, then what are you going to choose?
Yeah,
that's why we support our local libraries. Everybody, support your local library. Go get a library card.
Support the libraries.
Yes, and request your local, your favorite indie author at that library, because they can oftentimes source them if people have uploaded their stuff to the right place. I think it's hilarious that Mike has come into this show to advertise another show after this. You are a cheeky monkey. There you go. That's so cheeky. But no, I will allow this because I'm a part of this anthology. But yeah, we'll need to go over to Nico's book review YouTube channel after this
Okay.
for a big announcement. But stick with this for now because I have one last question for Tyler. Do not leave. I'll cry. It's not a nice sight if I
don't cry on a Friday.
I'm gonna call it Cry Day.
Holy shit.
I won't really. I can't afford to lose the moisture. It's too hot. So you've been writing ever since you were like a little kid. So you can pick whichever like, I don't know, era of your writing history you want. But if you could go back in time to when you were like first starting to take it quite seriously and you were like, I'm going to publish this thing. If you could go back and give yourself any advice, what advice would you give?
Oh man, I would go back to early college, and I would tell myself a couple of things.
Okay.
My first point of advice would be don't waste your time with trad publishing.
Okay.
And there's a long list of reasons that I would include as an explanation that I know my past self would demand, because I would want to know why. That I won't go into here, but I would definitely tell myself to not waste as much time and effort and money on the trad publishing rabbit hole as I did.
Okay.
And then instead replace that time that would have been lost with time like sharpening more, polishing more skills that, because I lost a lot of time trying to pursue that. And I think like, man, if I had just used that time to step out of my comfort zone and read more like broader things, not even just like fiction, of like even just more like nonfiction stuff, more like history, more poetry. Like I wish I could go back and fill those hours, those days, weeks that were lost with things that, because I ended up doing that later, so that time save, then I feel like the Arsonist would have had a much better, like it would have had a better initial launch, and then so it's more of like a snowball effect, right? Like a compounding, like if I save time here, I save all this other time, and then whatever that time could be used for, I mean, that's kind of the fun part of my answer. Like maybe I'd have another book out by now. I don't know.
Maybe. Or maybe you would have scared yourself because you'd be like, whoa, there's older me. What the hell?
Yeah, he didn't age well. Yeah, I would definitely, I would say, I would give my advice would be to just not even bother with the trad publishing machine and just pursue other endeavors that are related to the course of publishing. But yeah. Cool.
Well, hopefully that advice will help somebody that's listening to this today, because I find that question often, like largely the people that watch the show are writers. Writers read, but they're usually writers. And, oftentimes I think, man, I'm glad that I heard that, because that'll help me move forward with what I'm doing. Especially in the early days of doing this show, like it really kicked my ass into gear because I was just titting around and not really taking it seriously, because I was like, it'll come. I'll just create magic one day. And then I was like, oh no, I actually have to write it, don't I? Shit.
That's the tough part. You have to write it.
It's enjoyable. It's very exciting, but sometimes I'm like, but I know what the story is. So, but now I have to like scrape it.
I enjoy writing. Like I'm one of those people. I'm one of those sentimental suckers. It's always like, yeah, I like writing because it's therapeutic, because it is to me. And so I do like writing. I write every day. But when it comes to writing a book, it's daunting, not in that it's like, oh, I have to write this whole story, like this whole thing. It's daunting in that it's like there's like things that I'm gonna forget, even though I have an outline, even though I've got notebooks and all these ideas, like things. There's gonna be something, and like the thing that always frustrates me is I'm the person that's like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh shit, this was supposed to happen in chapter 2 and it didn't happen. Now I gotta go back and redo chapter 2, and I had all these plans to do chapter 3 today. Now I gotta go back and I gotta do this like crazy intervention surgery on chapter 2. and then chapter 3 gets delayed, and then you finally get to chapter 3 and you're all tired from doing chapter 3. You're like, wait, what was this? What was I even going to do? Oh, is this? Well, now that doesn't make sense because I decided to just freestyle at the end of chapter 2, and now it doesn't line up with my original outline. And so like that's what frustrates me about writing. It's not like I like writing. I get frustrated with myself because I'm just like I'm a very organized person, but then when I start getting into like my creative flow, I become pure chaos.
Yeah.
And now I say that, but I'm definitely a plotter, not a pantser. Like I do have an outline. I don't just wing it, but like there are moments when you're like in the flow, you're like, I originally wanted the bad guy to say this, and then he's like, tally ho, and he jumps off the wall, and he escapes, and then I'm like, no, that's dumb. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna have him grab line like a hang glider instead, But so there are like moments where I'll come up with something on the spot, but there's usually it's all designed, it's all predetermined. But
yeah, you definitely strike me as somebody that plans stuff for sure.
Yeah,
I'm a chaos goblin. I'm the kind of person that starts to write a bullet point list of what I want to happen, and then I get bored with writing that bullet point list, and I'm like, I might as well just write it. Why am I extending this process myself? And then I go away for 6 months, and I come back and I go, what is this? I have no idea. I don't know what this is. What was it?
What did I? Yeah.
But it's a cross we all have to bear. I just wanted to thank you so much for being here today. I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. I feel like this was about 12 months in the making, but we made it and we're here.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to finally come on here. I'm a big fan of the show.
Oh, thank you.
Seen a lot of really cool indie authors come on, and I've learned a lot about them through here. So thank you for all that you do and for having me on here. Honestly, I'm very grateful for this.
Oh, well, that's nice. I had a lovely time. And I forgot, I was all caught up in our conversation, but I forgot that there is a little QR code here that leads to your Amazon area where you can buy all the books. And there should be a link below. If there isn't, there will be shortly. But there's a QR code there if you can scan it. And there are links below. I've made it very easy for you all. So go check out Tyler's books, okay? If you were here in the chat or if you were lurking in the bushes, thank you so much for joining us today. If you watched the recording, thank you so much for joining us later in the week or month, whenever you decided to tune in. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm going to wave goodbye, and I'm going to click on the outro. So thank you, and I'll see you on the other side. Goodbye.